Hello, everyone, and thank you, We Connect, for the opportunity to showcase great stories from women-owned businesses. I am Manuela Gomez, Head of Supplier Partnership and Diversity at Diageo. Today, I will be interviewing Fiona Blades. Fiona, thank you so much for joining today.
Thank you very much indeed, Manuela. I'm absolutely delighted to be joining. My name's Fiona Blades, and I'm the founder of Mesh Experience. I have a background of marketing and advertising, and then I spotted a gap in the market, and that was trying to understand every single experience that somebody has with a brand, not just the TV advertising, but maybe seeing somebody drink a product in the bar. And that was why I set up Mesh in 2006.
Amazing. So Fiona, why don't you tell me what really inspired you to become a women founder?
Well, I was actually working as a planning director for an Omnicom agency in London, and I was working on brands like Mercedes-Benz when I spotted a gap in the market, in the data and analytics market, because research companies could tell me how a TV ad was working, but I knew it wasn't just the TV, that it was every experience that somebody had with the brand. So it was going onto the website, it was going into a dealership, it was seeing a neighbor's car. And I knew that if we could understand every brand encounter that someone was having with Mercedes-Benz and its competitors, we would know where to invest and what messaging was going to be working. And I think kind of maybe, Manuela, because I hadn't actually worked in research, I've been marketing and advertising. And in 2006, this was the days before Twitter and apps. I know it's hard to kind of think back that far, but I thought you could capture these experiences that people were having using their own mobile phones.
So, wow, this is such an amazing story, Fiona. Thinking back over the work that you have done, what has been the biggest challenges that you have faced as a woman entrepreneur?
There've been a lot, Manuela.
Can imagine.
But I actually think that sometimes that having those challenges, you come out stronger. And in fact, I'm going to mention an anecdote that that I heard, which is a motto that I really love, which is, in disease find ease, and in discomfort find comfort. And when you do, you're at the growing edge. So I really love that. And when anything's hard, I try and remember that. So let me think about some of the challenges that have occurred over the time. I think that one relates to moments of economic uncertainty, actually. So, for example, when we launched, many major companies like Unilever, for example, were really excited about the prospect of us doing our real-time experience tracking in Asia. And at the time, there was a lot of news about Asia being growing rapidly. And therefore, we thought, well, we're not going to be able to operate out of the UK for that. We'll need to set something up in Asia. And we went to Singapore. So that was in 2008. Well, in December 2008, we found that we won more awards at our industry event than any other agency. But by January 2009, every single client that we had penciled in for January postponed their advertising and therefore postponed their market research with us. And by March, we had to make redundancies in the UK, and we ended up with a quarter of the team. It was a really tough time. But there was something that was interesting that came out as well. So I had to phone up the managing director in Singapore and say we couldn't send any more money out because we had a problem in the UK. And how could they reduce costs? And I remember that the next day he phoned me and he said, we found a way to halve costs. I thought, I have no idea how you're going to do that, but I am all ears. You tell me, how are you going to do this? And he said, well, the team, and that was him and one other person, we're going to temporarily move to Thailand. And that was what they did. And so I suppose one lesson that I learned was to ensure in future that we had a founding client before we opened an office. But the other lesson I learned was share the challenges, because I would never have come up with that solution. And I thought that was a brilliant solution that he came up with. So I suppose that's one challenge. It was a similar situation, I think, during the pandemic, but at least I had that past situation to remember. We lost clients like Delta Airlines and LATAM Airlines, among others. Luckily, we were about to hire, so we could put all those posts on hold. But at that point during the pandemic, the business was a little bit more developed, and I felt that we could hold on to our purpose. And our purpose is to help create and measure experiences that grow brands, people, and society. And what we knew was that whatever banks did at that moment with lockdown was going to have a really big impact on people. So we decided to repurpose a study of ours on retail banking, which we had in the UK and the US, and to provide the data free of charge to banks every single week with a little webinar and data, so that they could be really in touch with how people were responding to banking experiences at that time. And actually, we didn't do it for this, but we gained 2 clients in that process. So I suppose that was another thing, a lesson, which was hold on to your purpose and try and do, what you think is right. But perhaps the biggest challenge, I think, or some of the biggest challenges relate to people. And I think ensuring that you've got a really good, your business partners, your management teams are aligned in your vision, I think is extremely important. Because when that isn't the case, it can really take an emotional toll. And, I think also it can be heartbreaking when you do have to lose people, really good people that you've worked with. So I think the only thing that you can do is to focus on what's right for the business as a whole, and then try and handle the challenges in as empathetic way as you possibly can. And make sure that the people around you share your values. So at Mesh, we have the Meshes, which are awards every month for people that have demonstrated the values of Mesh. And I'd also just like to say that I am grateful every single day for having Dana De Gregorio, who is our global managing director, because sharing the journey with her just makes it so much easier. So those are some of the challenges.
So Fiona, it's amazing to hear you, and really amazing to see the focus on people that you have. So really congratulations on how you have overcome those barriers. So Fiona, I'm very clear on the benefits that We Connect International brings to global corporates. I work very, very close with them. But from a woman founder point of view, can you tell me what being part of We Connect International Network helped your business?
Absolutely. Well, the first thing is, it feels great. It just feels great to be part of a network that promotes and advocates for women-owned businesses. And when I started, I didn't know any of that. And I faced some of the issues that many businesses will have faced. But just knowing you're going through it together and there are other people there, that makes a massive difference. Now, what I would say is, working in the marketing effectiveness consultancy arena, we find that having a friend in diversity and procurement can be really helpful when talking with marketing and insight directors. So often they may refer to not being able to get onto the roster or procurement challenges, those kinds of things. And that's when we can say, we're members of We Connect International and we already know some of their colleagues. And actually, that very instance has happened today. I've had somebody that's come back and said, I don't think now's the time to speak because, we can't do anything with our roster. And I'm going to go back and have a look because their company and Mesh we're both members of We Connect. So that's really, really practically helpful. I think the other thing is that one of the moments that I was most proud of actually was when Mesh Experience was named Delta Airlines Woman-Owned Business of the Year. And in fact, I'm going to show you this because this is so cool for me. This was like an amazing thing.
That's great.
We just felt so proud about that. And I wouldn't have known that Delta had that award unless it was for meeting the person through diversity at WeConnect International. But we were made to feel like royalty. We had a video that was made about the company. We attended this amazing lunch to receive the award. And I met Ed Bastian. So again, that was just the most amazing opportunity that I had that I would never have had if it hadn't been for WeConnect International. I was invited by WeConnect to speak to 200 Weebies about how to internationalize their business because Mesh had set up offices in other countries. And this was in Costa Rica. I'd never been to Costa Rica.
Amazing.
It was absolutely amazing, Manuela. I took some holiday around it. I was deeply honored. And it's an experience that I won't ever forget. So I do think that, you know, that there are all kinds of opportunities that you can do. And a third one that I'd like to mention actually is that last year, and this is really inspired by WeConnect International, I felt that there was a potential gap that we could help to fill. And we launched Diversity Unlimited in June 2022. And this is a collective of award-winning, diverse-owned insight consultancies to provide corporates with a one-stop shop. So it just felt to me that it would be good to have within our own industry to know the best of the best and bring them together so that it made it easier for corporates. We're marketing effectiveness consultancy, but you might want a semiotician. You might want somebody with behavioral economics, you know, kind of expertise, so that we can come together and provide that solution. And we've got 10 now amazing businesses as members. Some focus on DE&I, some on Gen Z. I've talked about behavioral economics. You know, there are lots of different areas that these women-owned businesses and diverse-owned businesses focus on. So I suppose if anyone is interested in finding out more, then, you know, please go to diversityunlimited.org or approach me personally. So that's another thing that I would never have thought of had I not been a member of WeConnect.
Yeah, Fiona, if you could give advice to other women businesses, what really would be?
Well, I've got 3 pieces of advice and something to share with you as well, Manuela.
Excellent.
So first of all, I always do advise women entrepreneurs to join WeConnect and to start by simply registering and joining in with the events, because you can learn so much from others and tap into a complete support network. So that's the first thing. The second is make sure you understand your purpose, because what you're trying to achieve, it's really good if you've written it down, because when the going gets tough, you'll need to remember it and you'll need to keep going. So always good to have your purpose written down. The third thing is enjoy the journey. I never imagined that I would be living in New York. I never imagined that I would have been traveling all over the world, that I would have experienced the most amazing people and learned about their cultures. And there are going to be good times and there are going to be some bad times, but some of the moments of adversity have produced the most heartwarming human experiences for me. So I would say treasure them and remember what's really important in life. And I have got this to share with you just because I love this. I saw it on the internet at Christmas, and this is obviously a woman-owned business, and she sent this to me with a lovely little message from Joy Linko. And, you know, I just think support other women-owned businesses because they will support you.
That's such amazing, Fiona. Thank you so much for this conversation. And I feel energized and inspired by you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Manuela.